Hello everybody, this is Broken Will, Gaming with Broken Will, and I thought maybe I would do a let's get started with Rust, because it seems like a lot of people have a lot of problems getting started out with Rust. So the first thing that is really helpful is knowing your location. So if you look at the big mountain ahead of me, that's Mount Everest. And if you know where that is, you can pretty much find out where you're going. And right now, I'm in Next Valley. Right down the road there's Portugal, and it makes a big loop to Big Rad. Big Rad's straight ahead from there, but you can see Next Valley sits right here. So if you go down straight, this is a really good place for resources. It's a good place to end up at the end of the game also, whenever the airdrops come. On a brand new server. Also on the other side is Hacker Valley. It's also a good place for resources to spawn, but it's not probably the best place to start out the game. So when you first start out, you want to kind of get in a better area than this, and as you can see, if I hit F1 and I type in suicide, I'm going to kill myself. And I'm going to try to randomly respawn somewhere where I can have a better chance of gaining resources, which this is alright, but it's not the greatest either. So we want to get somewhere where we can find a pickaxe, somewhere that we might be able to find a gun right off the bat, some ammo before we take off and start building. And that's how I usually like to do it, because it just seems to make it a lot simpler. So instead of running around, I'm gonna die again. And okay, we're over in Silk Valley, and I'm going to run across the street here to Resource Valley, which is over by Big Rat, or Little Split Rad, or Split Town, or Small Rad. Depends on how long that the game's been played. Depends on what people call it. But so I want to make a run real quick through here. As you can see, this is also a really good place to resource in Resource Valley, except usually on busier servers you get killed pretty quick if you start on an established server going through Small Rad. But if you're just starting out, it's good to chance it and take that risk. So I'm chancing it, even though I just did a wipe on my server not too long ago. So it is a newer Rust server. I was getting a population of around 40. So looky there. Got me some rad pills and got me a medical kit right off. So I have a little bit of health. I have a big storage box, which comes in handy for all the crap I'm going to get. So you want to be kind of quick about grabbing stuff. Just some bullets. 9mm, you can make them, but there's really not any sense of making any. Ooh, somebody's been here. The green chests and the little brown ones usually have like little things in them, like you might have like a little bit of gun, a little bit of gunpowder in it, a little bit of whatnot in it. The blue boxes, like this one, usually have like blueprints. There's a hollow sight for a gun or a gun. If you get the grayer ones, sometimes you can find a C4 blueprint, which is kind of rare. As you can see, I'm just grabbing just a little bit of odds and ends here, not really a whole lot. A lot of people kind of miss this box, which is kind of nice for me because I always remember it. So we get out of there and we go in this building. Those are pretty much the only, somebody's definitely been here running the roads, resourcing. There's another blue box. Woohoo. Maybe we'll find something good. Laser sight for a gun. A little bit more bullets, a couple cloth. It's also good to, whenever you first start out, to get cloth from the boxes too, especially if you don't care to, make some rad runs for a few minutes. And by doing that, you're kind of not wasting your energy or anything like that, because right now, I got some beans and I got some granola here that I'm going to eat real quick. So that way I don't have to, waste a lot of energy, and I can get right on farming and starting to get up my resources so I can build a base. But this is kind of a good way to kind of start out, because you always expect to get shot and killed in this game, because that's just how it happens. You get shot, you get killed, and you start all over again. But if you're kind of clever about it and you go into the game expecting to get killed instead of like being frustrated over it or whatever, it's not really a great big deal. It's really easy to get resources up, and once you get the research, you can make your stuff. And if you make enough Radtown runs, you can get that stuff pretty easy. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of avoiding the bears because I don't have any weapons. So I'm just going straight down. Zombie Hill's back that way. I'm coming up towards tanks and resource hole, and there's some wolves up here. Another thing to remember is that the road goes in a complete circle. So no matter where you go, you're always going to end up where you need to be. If it's off the beaten path or not, I don't care. The map's not that big, unless you're running way out into the wastelands. And if you keep going that way, there's an end to the map, but it's not a very good one. Okay, so resource hole is over on that mountain right there, right next to tanks. And right past the forest right there is the hangar. So we're going to go over here to tanks, which that's Echo Valley back there. It's a good place to build if you're starting out, but not real resource intensive unless you have unless you're resourcing tanks and want to accumulate stuff like that. There's bears over in resource hole, a lot of, the blue box, and 9mm pistol blueprint, so I can make that now. There's some rad pills and some armor. Gotta tell you, I'm quite sick of looking at rad boots. There's a flare. They're kind of cool to throw around, but it's also resource intensive to make them, because you'll need them later when you get C4. So you want to kind of hang on to those and just collect those until you get that research. Here's my pickaxe I've been wanting. Eventually pickaxe is like one of my favorite weapons to use in the game too, because people don't really I mean, some people will try to attack you or whatever with them, but for the most part, you can attack them with it and collect stuff. So I have a couple more band-aids here. And I like tanks because if you go around tanks, there's so many different places that you can go. And your best chance, at least my best chance that I seem to have at getting a gun is over here. Not this time. But did get a blueprint for one, so that's good. And you want to kind of study them right away whenever you get a blueprint. I don't really need to because I've already started out in the game, so I don't really need anything. I have all the research already because I'm pretty quick to getting that stuff up, so that's why I'm doing the tutorial. Because a lot of people, you know, I mean, even if you have to like barter or, you know, if you have a team, this is more of a team game than anything. And it's always good to have a team whenever you're playing the game, and I have a good clan that I have. I kind of am careful around this area, around the hangar, because of bears. So I'm going to go ahead and avoid that right now since I don't really have a good weapon for that yet. If I get a little bit of cloth, then I can hit a wood node and make a bow. Couple rock nodes and make some arrows, but I'm not fooling with that right now because I'm just starting out in the game. So I'm just running around, you know, minding my own business, and I'm grabbing this stuff. So not really having a full attachment to it because I have to expect to die. But you wanna grab like all the areas here that you can before you go off into the wilderness and start building. Now I had a okay. You can pretty much kill a wolf pretty quickly with a pickaxe. It's kind of takes forever to farm, but I'm grabbing some chicken, grabbing some stuff here. This is not the best place to be doing that though, but you do want to get it off your tail. You can outrun them, you know, but just doesn't seem like it'll be worth it most of the time. So there's a P250 blueprint you can study. And you can study them by right-clicking on it, and it says study. But of course, I already have this blueprint. I have them all already. Like I said, I'm just trying to show you the ropes a little bit. There's a little place back here that some newbies may not know. Got my stuck on the screen there a little bit. If you go back here. Back towards these rocks. Right past the hangar. I think I just passed it up here. There we go. Okay, there's a little dirt road right behind the hangar. See the little dirt road? One up the little dirt road. And once I get up this little dirt road behind the hangar, I got some more spawn boxes. I wouldn't really recommend building around any place like this unless you're a more experienced player, because you probably will get raided because people think that you have a lot of resources, which you usually do. Because, I mean, just in this little, run that I've done, living in the main area, look at all the stuff. Look at there, I got a gun. Look at all the rad pills, and I got a good bit of health here, and I already have, you know, almost 100 bullets for my gun. Well, not 100, but over 50, 56. It's a good idea as a naked, though, not to run around with your gun unless you are pretty confident at using it. And I'm not the greatest at PvP, but it's good in case I get a wolf or if I run into somebody. P250 is pretty much a mid-range weapon, so you have a really good chance at using it. And I got paper, but paper, used to have to use paper to do research, but you don't really need it anymore. It's kind of garbage unless you're on a server that uses it as modded, where it's modded back into it. If you go over the hill over here, you got Silk, or you have French Valley, but for now I'm just going to show you like the main loot boxes to hit. When you're going over to factory, it's usually not a really good idea to go to factory at first because there's a whole bunch of rat animals over there and the radiation is horrible. So if you're just starting out, I don't recommend it at all unless you have like a whole bunch of rad pills and you have a shotgun or a good bow and arrow. It's usually a high traffic area for PvP players also because it's a good place that, you know, people build towers and they shoot people, you know, running in to loot specific boxes or whatnot. But I'm still behind hangar. And I could go down and around the road. There's more, like I said, there's more loot boxes over by hangar, except I'm just not going to hit them because I don't really have like the right weapons. I mean, I have a good weapon, but it's not really a hunting weapon, you know, that you want to hunt with. So right over here is factory. The road circles around. Right there's hangar. There's the road. You can see it over there. It circles around behind the rocks there. So here's the factory, and I'll just kind of show you the factory a little bit. It gets confused with Big Rad sometimes when you first start out because of the radiation. It's really, really quick. There's a lot of rat animals here that'll just really catch up. Big Rad is pretty much the same way. Look at the radiation. See how high it is? Look at all them rat animals. And they're hiding back here too. Not a whole lot of places to, you know, really get your gear or whatever, but you know, I do have some rat pills and I know how to avoid the animals for the most part, so we'll go ahead and grab this stuff. Now my rad, if you see it, I'm getting radiation poisoning. Hit my rad pills on my tool belt. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. It takes a lot. Just make sure that you're kind of careful with it. I'm probably going to run into rat animals now, but I do have a gun, so see them hiding back there. These spawn boxes across the street from the factory are pretty much probably your safest bet if you want to just go ahead and just avoid them and, you know, come around this way. You usually have a good chance of getting a gun out of them. There's a bunch back here too, but there's also a bunch of rat animals back here. Ooh, there's a base in decay. There's some rocks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab those because those will come in handy as a new player to just kind of scavenge them. There's some rad boots, and we don't really need all that, but let's see. Is there chicken in the fire? Always make sure you check out the decayed bases. There's a little bit of charcoal. You never know, you might need that. Alright, now, if you've seen boxes up there, then I would go ahead and, you know, try to build stairs right over here. You know, go hit a wood pile, make some planks, and make some stairs to go up there and check things out. If, you know, just kind of be adventurous with your first try. or your first couple tries. That way you kind of get to know the map a little bit. Each map, even though everything's the same on this code in the same places, you know, people build in different areas. So, so got a little small stash there. And since I don't really see anybody around here, I'm kind of taking a risk with shooting anything, but I am the broken wheel. It's just a lot of ammo to waste on bears when you're starting out. You don't really want to farm with a P250. But they get a little bit of food. Food's good. Got some rad pills. Just easier to hit them with the bow and arrow because it only takes, you know, a couple hits, like 2 hits for a dog and, you know, 4 hits for a bear. And arrows are really cheap to make. And probably one of your most efficient weapons. It's really good for damage. But I like to farm with it. Shotgun when I get a shotgun. I don't like to make the shotgun shells, so I do these little rad runs. So we're going back to the road again. Okay, we're making a circle. And we're going to end up right back around French Valley. So we're headed towards French Valley, and there's about 5 spawn places that we can hit before we go back to Small Rad, or we can keep going into, I want to just avoid these bears. I see that wolf over there in the distance, see him over there. I'll probably have to kill him so I don't have to have like a huge headache. I'm backing up. Okay, so I'm just going to leave him there just to kind of fuss for a little bit. Reload my gun. Something else is... Okay. Reload my gun again, I reckon. And I'm going to go up here to the other little spawn places up here. Like I said, there's 5 of them. It's a really good place to start in the game too, but again, it's also one of them places that makes you easily raidable. Go back there, there's a beach. But just to make the rad runs, I mean, if you want to make like a 1x1, I mean, like right over this hill right here is Hangar. Then you have Factory. You have all these rad animals. Here's French Valley. You know, it's a whole bunch of resources. I'm not really seeing a lot of people building in French Valley like they used to. My first base was in French Valley. Kind of leaves you open and exposed. If you want to go back up and hide in the mountains, again, it can be a good place to be hidden. People look there. I look everywhere whenever I'm building, or after I build, or when I'm ready to raid. You know, because you don't need C4 to raid. You can pretty much just raid anybody with grenades. And even though I stink at it, I can still blow open a door with them. I might need more than the average person because I hit myself. Look, somebody's built there. So I'm just running a circle around the map, just kind of showing you the map. So this is French Valley to my right. And there's a couple rat animals over here. See them back there. Up on that rock. If you go straight through French Valley here, there's small rad. I'm going to go on up the road. And if you go up to Civ 2, there's 2 little spawn boxes with really low radiation. And those are really good places to also get guns and ammo. And if you just find a spot and just keep hitting them every couple minutes, they respawn really, really fast. They just keep regenerating. So here's one here. More stupid paper. Okay, as you can see, I'm really starting to collect my resources now. Another pair of rad boots. You get sick and tired looking at them stupid things. Alright, so I'm going down the hill here, and I'm going to show you big rad, even though I do not recommend big rad when you first start out, unless you have a good amount of rad pills. Okay, my health's getting low, so I want to eat a little bit there. Also want to stop and move my tuna into my hot bar, because tuna, people joke that it's the best item in the game, and people think they're joking about it, but look at it. It has 300 calories. It's good for water. It takes away 25 rad damage, and it adds plus 5 health to like if you get injured. Small med kits are 40 health. A large medical kit heals a lot of your health. Chicken breast is good too, but it's really hard to get if you're just starting out. So I'll kind of show you big rad, and then I want to show you how to get ready pretty quick. Now I have my 5 cloth that I need because I shot a wolf and got a couple, and I went and got a couple cloth out of a kit. Now there's forest, and behind forest is next valley. So I pretty much just showed you a big circle. So I'm going to go ahead and take a wood pile. I stole me some rocks. You don't really want to be out in the open crafting. It takes a really long time to craft, but like a workbench cuts your time down a lot. You want to go hide your things, but I'm going to show you really quick big rad. But watch, my rad damage is going to really start going off. Look at all them dogs in there and them bears. Okay, I'm just going to avoid all this. But I'll show you a little trick that I learned. So when you're just starting out and you don't want to lose your valuable items, and you haven't started building yet, you want to hide your stuff. And in my opinion, you could build a shack and just throw it down. I think it's a total waste of resources. You do not want to put a metal door on it. You want to build a solid structure with pillars and foundation, and make it tight and secure before it's just a waste of wood. I mean, the wood that you put into building a shack, you could have built a couple walls for your 1x1. So I'm headed this way, and I'm going to hide. Hiding is awesome. So I'm going to make a small wood storage box, and it takes 30 wood, and not a lot of time to do. Get rid of my rock here. I always want to keep it on a durability server, because if your pickaxe goes bad, you always have your backup rock. So a little trick I learned, which you might want to go scavenging around the coastline to see if anybody else has thought about doing this, because it's a really good idea. but you really have to be actively going down here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my box out. And I need like all these resources that are around here. So one of the admins built a little base over here. See where the water goes up and down? It's like back and forth. You don't want to be in the water, but you want to be close enough to the water to where, you know, somebody's going to be scared to death to go into the water to get your box. Because you might have to be really careful about it, but if you put your important things in there that you don't want to lose, namely your wood and your sulfur, which is more important than having a gun that you can already make. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stick that one on there. But it's just a lot easier that way. We wanted to make it also a bow. What to do with them? Here's a bow. And there's an arrow. So I want to make a few of them. Can't really make a whole bunch of them because I really didn't farm very much wood. But I farmed enough wood to make 8. That'll kill a couple things if I need to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick my gun in there. Now I have everything I need to start out with. I have food. I have all this other stuff. So that's how I get started out, and I get started out pretty quick. And like I said, instead of just farming and and get killed, farm and get killed, I just run around and I grab a whole bunch of crap before I start building anything. And then that way you have at least some bases to start out with. But you go hide your stuff. You know, nobody really comes around and, you know, look, do you see my box? 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 There's my box, but unless you come back here or, you know, anywhere around the, you know, here, it's going to be hard to find. So nobody's really going to look for it, especially if you start out on a new server. Just a good tip. Usually I hide out in South Hacker, like way out in the waste is where I start building, so I can farm and stuff. But usually I just grab a whole bunch of stuff. It's good to have like one person maybe farming to build the base, and one person that keeps just making rad runs constantly. You can always suicide out and go back, you know, and just keep making the runs over and over again. You just have a whole bunch of resources and guns starting out. It's awesome with the team. So that's how I get started in Rust. And my team's pretty successful with beating the server. So that's how we do it as a team. So that's all. Broken Wheel out.